All right, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us for today's edition of Weather Where You Are. I'm First Alert Meteorologist Courteney Jacobazzi, and it is officially a new month, the month of May, and we really start to see the heat turn up this month as we lead into the hottest month of the year, which is July here in Georgia. But this month definitely carries some significance in the warm weather department. We have usually passed, and more than likely have passed, any kind of threat of any kind of freeze, which is great because, of course, this time of year, what are we looking ahead to? Peach season, blueberry season, those harvests will start. So a lot of times when we reach May, any kind of agriculture leaders, any kind of farmers, they could just breathe a sigh of relief because they're like, oh, we made it past March, because that's always the tricky month when it comes to that potential for a freeze. This month, though, it is only up temperature-wise. Our days are getting longer as we lead into the summer solstice, which will, of course, be in a couple of months here. But let's talk about what to expect as we head into the month of May. We're going to start with kind of just some fun facts, some general knowledge about the month when it comes to some of our hottest days, our coldest, where we typically stand, how much daylight we receive. And then we'll talk about this week in particular. This week, as we kick off this new month, we are on track to have our hottest day of the year so far. So I hope you like the warm weather, because May is going to bring it for us. I'm going to actually take this graphic full for you guys because I know it's really busy, so it might be easier for you to see full screen here. But this is essentially what May normally brings as we go through the year. So May 1st, which is of course today, our average high temperature is 78 degrees. Well, as we make our way into the end of the month on May 31st, our average temperature rises to the low 80s, 84 to be exact. So our average temperature actually increases 6 degrees over the span of a few weeks, and our days get longer by 43 minutes. So tonight, our sun will set at 8:20, but take a look at this. Now, this is to my demise because I have a 2:20 a.m. alarm in the morning, and my bedtime is usually around 8 o'clock. So the fact that the sun doesn't set until closer to 9 o'clock is really brutal. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not that great right now either. But I know a lot of you at home watching love the 8:42 sunset, but me personally don't love that. Either way, though, the sun will rise on May 31st at 6:28, and then it will set at 8:42. Those longer days are here, and again, we'll gain 43 more minutes of daylight as we make our way through the month of May. Now, the warmest high temperature in May ever recorded, actually, believe it or not, both were on May 29th in 1914 and then again in 1941, where the high temperature was 97 degrees. I was actually just working with some stuff for WPGA, our station over in Macon as well. And I can vividly remember in 2019, May had its first ever 100-degree day in May on record. So we have not hit that here in Atlanta officially on record, but just about an hour and a half to our south, they have had a 100-degree day in May. But we were sure close in 1914 and 1941 on May 29th with a high of 97 degrees. That's the warmest day we've ever had on record in the month of May here in Atlanta. Now, the coldest low, 37 degrees. So again, those hard freeze threats, really not a thing in the month of May, with, again, the coldest low we've ever recorded. That was on May 7th, 1971. The wettest May we've ever had, we picked up just under 10 inches of rain. That was in 2003. And then the average month of May picks up about 3.5 inches of rain or so. And we've had a really wet year so far. So we'll see if May can continue that trend. In fact, we do have a few rain chances as we make our way through the next 7 days, with 2 first alert weather days for Friday and Monday because of a chance for more widespread rain and storms. So we'll kick off the month of May a little bit on the unsettled side, but definitely warm as well. As I mentioned, we have some of the hottest days of the year on the way so far, starting today and then again tomorrow. Let's talk about that. So the warmest day so far this year was on April 19th, and it was 86 degrees. That was the high temperature that day. Now today, we're forecasting a high of 85 degrees, and Thursday's high is 87 degrees. So if the forecast tracks for Thursday, we will officially have the hottest day of the year so far when we top out at 87 degrees, if we are exactly accurate. But hey, who knows? We'll have a lot of sunshine tomorrow, and so we could even get a little bit warmer than that. But right now, on track to have the hottest day of the year just within the first couple of days of May, with the high again of 87 for tomorrow. Going to be a very warm day, but thankfully the humidity not going to be high, so it won't be a hot and humid day. It'll be just a dry heat, which obviously is a little better, and we want to hold on to those days for as long as possible because we know good and well that humidity will be here before we know it. In fact, we will have some slightly higher humidity just this weekend come in, and that'll give us the chance for even some afternoon storms in between a couple of weather systems because it'll be so humid. We'll have those storms bubble up in the afternoon. Now, the first 90-degree day here in Atlanta, on average, is usually May 31st. So if we hit 90 degrees before May 31st, we'll be a little ahead of schedule, but that's okay. It happens all the time here in North Georgia. We like to heat up pretty quickly here, but I'm ready for it, y'all. These are the months that I live for. Now, when it starts getting humid in the summer, that's when I'm like, all right, it's a little too much. We're doing a little too much. But nonetheless, average first 90-degree day, May 31st. The earliest first 90-degree day we ever had on record was April 23rd. That was back in 1980, so not all too long ago. And of course, we did get close to a 90-degree day with our hottest day of the year being 86 back in mid-April for us, but didn't hit that. So first 90-degree day, earliest first 90-degree day, April 23rd, 1980. Now the latest 90-degree day, that was July 28th, 1961. All I can think about when I read that statistic was, could you imagine going through like the 4th of July and not hitting 90 yet? Y'all know if you've been in Georgia around the 4th of July, you're usually sweating and it is hot and it is humid and it's disgusting. You're probably getting the 100 plus degree feels like temperature heat index values at that point. I was like, could you imagine not even hitting 90 until the end of July? That'd be like, I don't know if that'd be a blessing. I don't know if I would love that, but yeah, that's something interesting because we all know that we are cooking by the time we get to the 4th of July. You could probably cook your hot dogs and your hamburgers on the asphalt because it's usually so hot at that point. But nonetheless, those are the statistics for the first 90-degree day for the city of Atlanta. Now, last year, our first 90-degree day was on May 19th. So we'll see if we can beat that. We at least are going to get close to it on Thursday with a high of 87 in the forecast. The last 90-degree day that we had here in Atlanta was September 22nd. So it's been quite some time since we've hit that 90-degree mark here in North Georgia. So we will keep an eye out for it. We don't have 90 again forecast right now on the 7-day, but we have a couple of days that are close. So with that said, it's just really important. Of course, this time of year, the sun angle starts to get a little bit more sharp, a little bit more harsh. So it's really important to wear your sunscreen. That UV index really going to start to shoot up. Of course, we have to think about heat safety when it comes to drinking lots of water. Make sure you're staying hydrated. A lot of students are going to be doing those after school activities. You're going to be getting out and about a little more to enjoy the weather. So just really important while we're on the topic of May heating up that you think about all the things that come with heat safety this time of year to stay hydrated. Make sure you're taking breaks if you need it. Not even just water, something with a little bit of electrolytes in it, something a little bit of salt in it to keep you going. All really important. And of course, I will be the advocate of sunscreen all day long. As someone who grew up in Florida, that was like almost like you had one in your car glove box, you had one in your purse, you had one in your bathroom, you had one in like your kitchen. I mean, you had sunscreen everywhere. So just letting you know, I'm going to be the mom here for a second. Make sure you're wearing your sunscreen. Now, again, as we head into this week, we do not have a 90-degree day forecast, but it's only about time that we do, again, with the average first 90-degree day coming on May 31st. Now, on the 7-day forecast, we do have a few days where we're going to have some rain, which will help cool us down just a little bit. In fact, our coolest day of the week this week will be 78 degrees on Saturday with that first alert weather day because of the rain. So we're going to talk a little bit about that here in just a minute. But just prepare. If you do have Saturday plans, you're going to want to start thinking of a backup because we do have the chance for on and off rain and storms that will be fairly widespread. So this time of year, also important to note, because we're going to start getting those summertime afternoon storms. The age-old when thunder roars, head indoors, right? That's really important because a fun statistic for you while we're on the topic of lightning and while we're on thunderstorms and on the topic of heat, lightning can actually be 5 times hotter, not 4 or 5 times hotter than the sun. So yeah, definitely need to be careful around that because lightning is no joke, y'all. 5 times hotter than the sun. Could you imagine that? Yeah, that's why you want to head inside when thunder roars. You head indoors. Let's show you the 7-day forecast really quick because we do, again, have some changes for you that are on the way with those couple of first alert weather days, just so you can get an idea. If you didn't get a chance to tune in with us at 10 o'clock, I'd like to give you kind of a little bit of a wrap here. Clearly May going to turn up the heat for us here. We'll have a day in the mid 80s today, upper 80s tomorrow. Again, the warmest day of the year on track for tomorrow. The mornings will stay really mild in the 60s. And as we head into Friday, we'll have the chance for a few evening thunderstorms. So essentially, we'll get a little bit of a ripple in the atmosphere. We're going to go into what we call a zonal flow. And zonal essentially means west to east, very straight, back and forth, right? And when that happens, we get these little ripples in the atmosphere to kind of move in and roll in. And we'll be watching for one of those on Friday. Essentially, when the upper levels of the atmosphere go zonal, it kind of just conveyor belts storms into our area, and they just ride along and knock on our door and give us a little bit of a stormy pattern. So that's what we're looking at as we head into Friday. And then Saturday, we'll continue that chance for rain and storms. We'll start the chance in the morning, and then as we head into the afternoon and evening, we kind of have that heat of the day, that weather feature kind of hangs out over the southeast. Put those things together, that's going to give us a pretty rainy and stormy day. So that's why we have that first alert weather day for you that day, to just kind of give you a heads up, hey, it's going to be a rainy and stormy day on Saturday. If you have outdoor plans, just make sure you're starting to think of a backup. I know we have Shaky Knees Festival this weekend, among a million other events. It is springtime in Atlanta. We always have a bunch going on. So if you do have any outdoor plans Saturday, just want to give you that heads up that, hey, you might want to start thinking about something indoors instead. Now, Sunday, a little bit drier. We'll have the chance for some afternoon pop-up summer-like storms on Sunday with about a 30% coverage of rain, so definitely not a washout. That does look to be the better day of the weekend with highs in the low 80s. And then Monday, as you're going back to work and school on Monday, a day you want to pay attention to, because we will have another first alert weather day on Monday with the heightened chance of showers and storms yet again. So just as you're thinking about it, I know we don't like to think about Monday before we even get to the weekend, but think that you're probably going to have to add a few extra minutes to that morning commute, potentially on Monday. Maybe the evening commute as well if we get those afternoon storms to bubble up, but we'll get a better picture of that for you closer to the day. And then Tuesday, we rebound back into the upper 80s with maybe a few afternoon thunderstorms. So a really warm week. I hope you like the warm weather, everyone, because May certainly brings it. Again, our first 90-degree day usually set in this month as we head towards the end of the month. But hey, with the way the forecast is trending right now, we might hit 90 sooner than what we normally do, but we'll keep you posted on that. Thanks so much, as always, for joining us for Weather Where You Are. It was a pleasure to spend some time with you, and we'll catch you here next time.